Good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 149 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I'm your host, Paul English, and like always, we have a fantastic show for you. Today, we are going to be counting down our top 5 kid shows that deserve a modern reboot. With the success of modern reboots of classic shows like DuckTales and Voltron, we're going to look at 5 more that we think deserve that treatment. And joining me for this countdown is a fantastic crew of regulars that you know and love by now. It is Colton, Jack, and Mike. What's going on, folks?
Hey, everyone. Not much. Happy to be here.
Happy to
20 days away from Endgame, everybody.
Happy to be here. I was working Shazam last night. Shazam!
Hi.
All right, guys. So this, I think I'm pretty sure I explained it to you, but this isn't in any particular order. You can listen in any order that you want. However, all I request is that you save the show you want rebooted the most for last. That's all I have. Otherwise, do this in any order you want. So let's jump right in. Colton, I'll come to you first. What's the first Nick Classic show, retro show that you'd like to see rebooted?
Well, since we've already seen DuckTales get rebooted, it's only fitting that we get a reboot of Darkwing Duck. I mean, it was a great show back in the day, so I'd like to see what they could do, what more they could do with it. I mean, granted, a straight-up continuation would be cool, but, just seeing it from a different perspective would be fun, I think, and I think they could also go back and do things a little bit differently. Like in the original show, we never really got much insight into where the hell Negaduck came from. He just shows up in one episode and Darkwing acts like he's always been there. And I think they can maybe just connect it a bit more with DuckTales, because like in the original version of Darkwing Duck, it's just like, launch pads around, and he sort of vaguely alludes to DuckTales, but they never really dive much into it beyond that point. So the first one on my list is Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous.
All right, Jack, what's number 5 on your list? Or what's the first show you want to see rebooted? I'm sorry, shouldn't say. Go on.
My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Okay.
Which was a Nickelodeon show, God, in the early 2000s. Or was it the 90s?
No, early 2000s.
You're right. About a girl who was a robot that went to school, and I think you could reboot it today. A lot has changed in the world. High schools have changed. There's been a lot of advancements and technologies that they could use in the show that could make it interesting for a new generation.
Okay, Mike, what's the first classic show you'd like to see rebooted?
Your mic's off, Mike.
That's all right. I'm going to go with the only live-action show on my list, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Never heard of that one.
Exactly.
I haven't heard either.
It lasted for one season.
Yeah, it lasted for one season. I want to say late 90s, early 2000s. No, I think late 90s, yeah. Ran for one season on Fox, which explains why it was canceled so quickly. It starred...
Bruce Campbell.
Thank you. Yes, it starred Bruce Campbell as Briscoe County Jr., and it was essentially a Western, but it had sci-fi elements into it. Like the main kind of thing that Briscoe's trying to find every now and then is this orb with this weird little antennas kind of sticking out all over it, and it could be from space. They never really explain much about it, but like the main villain pulled out one of the antenna things, and it gave him like these weird powers. So it was very nice tongue-in-cheek Western to it, but it had these really cool sci-fi elements that I think could be really done well today. So yeah, Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
All right. First one I have on my list is I know I'm in a minority, as is Mike on this, but both of us, we loved the 2017 Power Rangers movie. We thought it was a successful reboot of a classic kids franchise. What?
I love the 2017 Power Rangers reboot movie.
Me too.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that. But I mean, Mike and I were there at the beginning, okay? We were there when it started. So with that said, I want to see some reboots of some other Saban era properties, and let's let's see what the big bad Beetleborgs could do in modern time. I loved this show. It was so stupid, but it was so funny. I loved all the monsters that the kids interact with. I thought the villains were creative. I thought this is a fun show, and I'd love to see it come back. Give it a little bit of an edge to it, but keep the corny fun of the monsters and all that. It's good stuff. I'd love to see that again. All right, Colton, what's the next one you got?
All right. Next one on my list is an old Cartoon Network show, Sheep in the Big City. This show was absolutely ridiculous, and I loved every second of it. So I would like to see, just see them come back, do it again, And one of my favorite things about the original show was the narrator, how he was always constantly making fourth wall jokes and complaining about how absurd the series was. So seeing him come back and complaining about how they're relaunching a 19-year-old series that lasted only 2 seasons would be absolutely hilarious, I think. So yeah, the next one on my list is Sheep in the Big City.
I think I have a vague memory of that show, but I never watched it.
Yeah.
Jack, what's the next one you got?
Dexter's Laboratory.
Really? Okay.
That was a great show back in the day, and
it was.
I think you could bring it back today. There's a lot of technology stuff, and animation has gotten a lot better since then. I mean, the original cast is still around, I believe, and you just got to get the original creator, and there you go, Dexter's Lab.
You do know that would be hard to do, considering when you look at the team behind me. You're not just talking Gendy Tartakovsky, but Butch Hartman and Seth MacFarlane also worked on that show as well. That show had a team of animation legends in it. That'd be hard to get them back together for anything.
Well, Butch Hartman did just recently leave Nickelodeon, so I'm pretty sure he's looking for work out there.
Yeah, he's not really doing much.
Yeah, but Lefty, do you think with everything he's got going on, you think Seth MacFarlane's got time to go back to that? A great dream? I don't think so. All right. Mike, what's the next one you got?
Next one was an animated show. Ran for 1 year, from 1985 to 1986. Mask.
Wait, whoa!
Not the Mask. Mask.
No, Mask. MASK. Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Oh, okay.
Command with a K.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because
wait a minute, they made an animated show about Rocky Dennis? Like, what the hell?
Nope.
Okay.
This was the show was goofy, but it was still kind of cool. It basically had this team of the team was Mask. They were good guys. It was kind of like G.I. Joe, basically. Mask was the good guys. Venom was the bad guys. And basically they were just people that they put on these masks that would give them like special abilities, and they would also allow them to interface with their vehicles, which would be able to transform into like some other, like they had like a backup form, like a motorcycle turned into a helicopter, car turned into a jet, their 16-wheeler turned into a mobile command unit. It was pretty cool. The toys are actually a bit more. They lasted a little bit longer than the show did.
As did a lot of other toys built around toys from the shows from the 80s.
Right, but the cool concept, I think, could be done pretty well today. Look up some of the episodes. There's the obligatory annoying kid with his even more annoying robot sidekick, who is the son of the leader of the good guys. But the actual vehicles and the masks were pretty cool designs, so I think they could do it well.
Okay. So next one on my list, this is probably one of Saban's most obscure properties. It only ran for 1 season, but I friggin' loved this show. Mystic Knights of Tir-na-nog. Now, if you've never heard of this show, think Power Rangers meets Lord of the Rings.
That's deep what you dive, got. Sir. That is a deep dive.
I've never even heard of this.
You wouldn't agree with that notion, Mike?
I've heard of it. It was there and then was gone. I mean,
yeah, it only ran for 40 episodes 1 season, but I friggin' loved this show. And given how hugely successful Lord of the Rings was, I think this show could make a comeback, especially with the updated special effects. I think this will be a fun show to give kids another reintroduction to Middle Earth if they're too young for Lord of the Rings. You can have this show for them. I'd love to see it come back. All right, Colton, what's the next one on your list?
All right, this is an old, or not old, but old by our standards, I guess, from 1993 to 1994. It was the TV animated series Double Dragon. Basically, it was nothing like the games at all, but screw it. I never played the game anyway, so it was a pretty entertaining, Saturday morning. I'm assuming it was a Saturday morning cartoon show. It definitely felt like one, at least, with these two brothers that, when they combine their stores, transform into martial arts superheroes and whatnot. But the main reason why I want to see this get rebooted is because of the fact that since they aired in the 90s and were like basically Saturday morning cartoons, they would naturally get subjected to some pretty stupid censorship laws and all that jazz. So I feel like, like over like 20 years later and whatnot, they could do a lot more and have, better animation at their disposal and whatnot. It wouldn't feel so hunkered down to appeal to feel like they only had to appeal to children or whatnot. I think, that next one on my list is Double Dragon.
Okay, Jack, what's the next one on your list?
Cat dog.
Oh,
What would you do in the world with a little cat dog?
I have that show.
This is one of my favorite shows from the 90s. I think you could do a sequel series, answer some questions, or just straight up reboot it. The premise is just hilarious. And kids today don't really know what it is, and they should. They need better cartoons to watch. And this could be one of them.
That's what we're here for. That's what Shout Factory's for. They've got these shows. We collect them. We show them to our kids. Like, oh, these kids are fuck them. One of which I'll put on Cat Dog for you. All right, Mike. What's the next one on your list?
Next one is Legend of Zelda.
Really?
Well,
you mean the one that aired during the Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
Yeah, that one.
That's the only animated one we got, and that one is absolutely awful.
Well, excuse me, Michael.
Exactly. You just proved my point, sir. There was very little of the game in any of those cartoons. But I mean, if you take a look at what Netflix did with Castlevania, do that with Legend of Zelda, and you got yourself a hit on your hands. I mean, you don't even need to take the plot from any of the games. Trust me. I mean, believe me, the plots from the games are as wild and varied as anything else. Just use something in the mythology, and you can do something really incredibly awesome with it.
It's kind of weird that we haven't got another animated series. I mean, it's freaking Zelda, but
I think after that animated series and after the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Nintendo pretty much said, "Yeah, we're done."
No, actually, they had a couple other Mario shows on before they finally said enough.
Yeah, well, until recently, that when they did Castlevania, but that was more Konami than actually Nintendo. But Nintendo is starting to loosen up their leashes a little bit. So
yeah, they're making a Sonic movie.
It's too dark to see, but I actually have that Legend of Zelda season.
It's awful. It is truly, truly awful.
Okay. All right. So the next two on my list, I wouldn't exactly call them kid shows, but they were hokey enough that Karen's like, fucking my kids can watch this. And honestly, I love these shows. I really do. I love these shows. So first one, this one, I freaking love the show. Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. I mean, when I think Hercules, this to me is the definitive incarnation. I mean, I love the Disney version. Some of the recent ones have sucked, but I mean, Kevin Sorbo, to me, I don't like some of the things he says. I think he's an overly conservative prick as a person, but I mean, he is Hercules to me. This show ran for like 5 seasons, and it was just glorious. The adventures were stunning. The action sequences are fun. The special effects do not hold up, but I still love them, and I think with today, you could bring the world of ancient Greece to life in a way that that could never be done at the time, and it would just look glorious. And to bring back that same thrill, the same fun to it, and one of the best theme songs that has ever been laid out in a television show. Top 5 for sure. I friggin' love this show, and I want this to come back. All right. Colton, I assume Mike is I think Mike muted out for a second because he actually has those seasons. I do too. But anyway, Colton, what's number 2? What's the next one on your list?
I will be shocked if any of you guys have heard of this show that I'm about to bring up. It's aired in 1992 to 1993, lasted 13 episodes each season ran 2 seasons, 13 episodes each. It is King Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
No.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if you had heard of it.
I have.
You have?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Arthur, the football team, basically, right? He was a quarterback.
It's like Merlin. It's like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table are captured and like imprisoned in the quote unquote prison of glass. So Merlin decides to bring the football team called the Knights from the future to the past to save the day. It is an absolutely stupid premise, and that's kind of why I love it. I mean, King Arthur, he's the guy that's kind of had a bit of an iffy journey in terms of adaptations and everything. So I think just having a silly-ish story like this and bringing it into redoing it can allow them to, well, one, work out the kinks from the original series, and work out the animation business and probably be a bit more violent than they were allowed to be in the 90s. And just that to see what more they could do with the story, along with actually being able to finish it this time. So, they didn't really end it because, well, then again, that's back when toy stores weren't selling them. Bam, you're number 2 on my
they
list.
also did a Super Nintendo game based on that.
I heard about it, and it wasn't good from what I know.
No, it wasn't.
All right,
King
Jack.
Arthur and the Knights of Justice is my number 2.
Jack, what's the next one on your list?
This was an early 2000s show, which was one of my favorite shows growing up on Cartoon Network, called Lyoko.
Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
The internet, I think this can work because the internet has changed. I mean, like drastically since the show was made. So they can go into a bunch more stuff with more avatars, more the way the world is, how we're all more connected. And I think it could be really interesting.
All right. Mike, what's the next one on your list?
The next one on my list, I was trying to find the DVD box sets I've got for it, but I couldn't find them. Anyway, Gargoyles. I mean, if you've never seen the show Gargoyles,
I've never seen it.
Oh, do yourself a favor and check it out. It is. It ran. I want to say
3 seasons, I believe.
Yeah, it ran for 3 seasons. The 3rd season wasn't as good. Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first 2, but the first 2 are amazing. I mean, it was a kid. It was ran on the Disney Afternoon block, but it had mature subject matter. Hell, in the first season, there was a episode about one of the gargoyles finds a gun and accidentally shoots their human friend, and I mean that episode got pulled for a while, but basically it's about these gargoyles, actual stone gargoyles that in the Middle Ages they would at night they would come to life and help their human companions in their castle, but then they had a spell cast on them and they didn't awake until modern times. And there's like this show goes Shakespearean, literally. I mean, they fight against Macbeth. There's Midsummer Night's Dream references, Puck, Oberon, Titania. I mean, this show was incredible. The animation was fantastic. The storylines were fantastic. It never really found the audience that it so firmly deserved. So I think this one absolutely is right for a remake. And from what I hear, Jordan Peele really, really wants to make a live action movie based on it. And quite frankly, after Get Out and Us, if he really wants it bad enough, I don't think anyone, not even Disney, is going to tell him no. So yeah, that'd be my next pick is Gargoyles.
I think the problem that Gargoyles faced that it aired at a time when the Disney after Dune was cranking out shit like Bonkers and a bunch of shit show. But I mean, yeah, I never saw myself, but I've heard it was a fantastic show. Plus, it also helps that half the cast of Star Trek Next Generation provided the voice.
Oh yeah. They're like kind of their human adversary / ally was voiced by Jonathan Frakes. One of their main gargoyle enemies was voiced by Marina Sirtis. I know Michael Dorn was one of the gargoyles villains, allies / villains as well. It was seriously, check it out if you never have. It is so amazing.
I think the problem might have been that Gargoyles was probably quote unquote too dark for kids or something like that. So I remember that was part of the reason why. That was probably the reason why I didn't really watch it that much later until I was older and what have you.
You're not wrong.
All right. Next one on my list. You cannot talk about Hercules: The Legendary Journey without also talking about Xena, Warrior Princess. And you know what bugs me about a lot of people? They're saying that there's not enough representation of strong women. I'm like, you don't need one. Look, go back to the fucking 90s. You had Catherine Janeway and Xena, Warrior Princess, kicking ass on a weekly basis for 6 years. These were women that if my sisters grew up to be like any of those two, I'm like, yes, I would be a happy big brother. This show was, again, it was, I think it was a lot more serious than Hercules. It had the same beautiful mythology. The sweeping landscape are just gorgeous, but it's New Zealand. Of course it's gorgeous. The action was incredible. And, you know, the friendship between Xena and Gabriel was very well done. And again, like Hercules, the special effects are kind of hokey, but, you know, it was the 90s. I would love to see this show come back. I want this show to come back. And we'll have Lucy Lawless involved in it somehow. So, yeah, that's my next one.
Just have her playing Xena again. I mean, she's already proved in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that she can still kick butt at her age. And
absolutely.
How old is she, actually?
All right. So, final one. This is the show that you guys want rebooted the most. Let's hear it. Colton, what is it?
All right. This is a show that technically has been rebooted twice, once in the 80s and again in the 90s. But you know what? Screw it. It should come back again because it's that awesome. I'm talking about Johnny Quest. The show that probably one of my earliest obsessions as a child. Whenever it was on, I was right there to see it. It was fun seeing, you know, Johnny, Race, Haji, Bandit, Dr. Quest, and Jesse going on all these adventures around the world, sometimes dealing with, you know, myths or something like that, or just these completely off the wall sci-fi adventures and what have you. And I loved how with each new reboots, the character of Johnny would, you know, would change slightly. He would be getting older as things would progress to be a bit more active in the storyline. So I like to see how they would depict him, you know, in this day and age. How useful he'd be in the amongst everything, you know, in addition to his comrades and what have you. But yeah, what I would like to see rebooted most of all is Johnny Quest. It's been years since the last one. It's time to reboot him. Time to see what more adventures the Quest team can get in this day and age. So yeah, Johnny Quest is my number one.
All right, Jack, what is your number one?
Is it Mike next? Oh yeah, it's me. Mine is more of a sequel series, and this one might actually have a chance of happening. Drake and Josh.
Yes. But I call it more of a spin-off than a sequel, but yes, I love this show.
And recently, Drake and Josh were talking about it, that they had an idea, and they were going to talk to some networks about it, and that would be a little more adult. And this fucking needs to happen. Yes. Drake and Josh for the win.
If it happens, Megan needs to get her fucking comeuppance at once and for all. I'm tired of her always getting away with every little bad thing she did on that series.
Yeah, like at some point she needs to get her payback. All right. Mike, what's your number one?
My number one is a show that aired for 21 episodes in 1991, and it is still to this day one of the best animated shows I've ever seen in my life. It is a show called Pirates of Dark Water.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Never heard of it.
It was so far ahead of its time. It told the story of a young prince named Ren who lives on this basically aquatic world. It's full, all ocean, mostly ocean anyway. But it's slowly being taken over by this substance called dark water. It's basically just black, like kind of semi-sentient, destructive water that just slowly spraying across the world. And the only thing that can stop it are these 13 sacred treasures that are hidden all around the world. And so he has to go with a couple of kind of pirates, like a pirate that pirate friend that he picks up, and a kind of a quasi seer named I think her name was Tula, but they are trying to find the 13 treasures so they can save the planet, but they're being hunted by this pirate captain who is trying to just find the treasures for himself for whatever reason. Unfortunately, the show was canceled abruptly after 21 episodes. Only half of the treasures were found, so we never got a conclusion. And it was much like Gargoyles. It was dark. It was serious. I mean, it had obviously moments of levity. It was still a kids show, but it deserves so much to have a reboot, to have the story actually completed and told right. And I think with modern animation storytelling techniques, the Dark Water, you could really animate that to make it look truly terrifying. And yeah, again, if you've never seen it, only 21 episodes. I'm not sure where you can find it now, but I'm sure Shout Factory's got it. Absolutely seek it out. Pirates of Dark Water, my absolute number one desire for a reboot.
I think it's on YouTube or Daily Motion, one of those two.
Probably.
All right. Okay, so number one, and for a moment I was tempted to pull a Chris and say something absurdly stupid like Hammerman, but I don't need any of you guys muting me. That's not who I am. So number one on my list, the real number one is 1993's Sonic Sat AM, the good Sonic the Hedgehog show.
Excellent choice.
This is one of the, not just a great Sonic show, but one of the best animated shows that I have ever seen. Stunningly beautiful, detailed animation, well-crafted storylines, great character moments, and good action. A well-done environmental message that doesn't shove it down your throat. And in my honest opinion, the best incarnation of Dr. Robotnik that has ever been seen. He's scary looking, he is intimidating, and Jim Cummings' voice coming out of him is just what the hell. I mean, if you've never seen the show, I encourage check it out. Find some clips of it, find some episodes, plus a kick-ass theme song too, so that always helps. And just like Mike's number one with the Pirates of Dark Water, it never got a true finale. It ran like one season and it ends on a fucking cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, I hate that. So I know this got continued in the comics, but like, how many people actually read it? I didn't. So I want this show to come back. I know it'd be difficult because I know that not all the voice cast is still around. I know Christine Cavanaugh sadly passed away. I believe she voiced Bunny. But I know Jaleel White's still around. I know Kath Soucie's still around to play Sally. Jim Cummings, God bless him, I don't think he's got much time left. So if you want to do this now before he's gone. Bring him back to play Dr. Robotnik. And keep the same animation stuff because it was just gorgeous. It reminded me a lot of Warner Brothers animation, like Batman and Animaniacs and Superman. That serious, dark animation is just absolutely stunning. And yeah, so bring the voice cast, bring the animation, and give us a really great show on that level, please. So that is my number one. I want Sonic Sat AM. I want a good Sonic show brought back. All right, guys. So that is it. That is going to wrap up our countdown of the top 5 kid shows we think reboot. If you have any suggestions on any retro kids that you think should be rebooted, let us down in the comments. Get a discussion going. But I want to thank all of you for watching, and I want to thank my panel for being here as well. Colton, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here, man. Good topic.
Indeed. Jack, thank you very much for being here as well.
This was a lot of fun. Everybody should go see Shazam.
I'm working on it.
Working on it. Mike, thank you for being here.
All right, great to talk about this, and actually, this is the topic of the next Geek Salad episode as well. So,
oh really?
I'll be sure to listen.
All right, guys. Now I'm gonna throw. I did have an honorable mention. However, I'm going to save that for next week's show. Well, maybe not next week, but I'm going to save that for the next show, which will be a companion topic to this one. For our next show, guys, we are going to be counting down the top 5 retro video games that deserve a modern reboot or / remaster. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Looks like some of our guys have got some ideas already floating in their head, and I will reveal my honorable mention from this topic on that one. So tune in for that. Might be next week, but it'll definitely be on a Saturday, so keep your eyes out for it. We will see you next time. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.